So we're going to start out with the concept of a pelvic tilt. Now, pelvis means basin in Latin. So I want you to think about your pelvis being a basin or a bowl, and we want to have it level front to back. So as I stand here, my hip bone in the front and my hip bone in the back are about level.
The back hip bone will be just slightly higher.
If I were to spill forward, you would see that the bowl would kind of spill out the front. This would put me into what's called an anterior tilt, a forward tilt. And you can see how my back just became more curved in this position. If I were to spill out the back, I would be in a posterior tilt, or sometimes called a tuck. I would be spilling out and rounding into this low back. And this is the movement of our pelvic tilt. I want you to think of the pelvic tilt being a motion forward and back, not a specific position.
Notice that as I move my pelvis, it affects my spine above and my legs below. So my pelvic tilt will affect my stack. Therefore, if I naturally tend to be in more of an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt, it's going to have a domino effect on the rest of my stack. The same thing could be said if my head was forward or my ribs were forward or vice versa. It would affect the whole stack. So think of the pelvic tilt being the action or the movement of the pelvis that allows us to get a little bit more stacked. So let's take another look at our skeleton here. We're going to focus on the pelvis. So we're going to zoom in. In the front, you see the pubic bone in the middle, and on the back, you can see we have the sacrum bone in the middle, and at the very bottom of the sacrum bone is our tailbone. The sacrum bone is wedged between two larger bones called the innominate bones. Where the innominate bones and sacrum bones meet are the SI joints. So now we're going to look from the side. There are two bony landmarks on each side of our pelvis we are going to note. The posterior superior iliac spine, or the PSIS, and in the front we have our anterior superior iliac spine, or the ASIS. Looking at those two bony landmarks, you can see that they're about level. However, in a neutral position, the PSIS is slightly higher than the ASIS. While the skeleton provides structure, it's actually the muscles and connective tissue pulling on the bones and acting with the joints that creates our overall alignment. Thereby, posture is not created by stacking bones, but rather balancing muscles and connective tissue to allow you to hold yourself in an optimal posture.